we go. Another one. This did not intend to start off as a DJ Khaled impression, but now it is. Welcome to the show, everybody. We the best. Purvis.
This keeps getting worse. Hello, everyone. Come back
Stop
to me.
starting the show with the phrase,
I'm
this
sorry.
keeps getting worse. Have
We've been
some
saying that
optimism in your product.
Fine. I've actually been promoting our podcast a lot. We
Yeah.
might get some reviews lately.
Oh, that
Same
makes
here.
sense. That makes sense because the engagement recently, this is probably an off-camera conversation, but like the engagement recently has been pretty great, actually.
Yeah, we're getting there.
But welcome.
But yeah,
Welcome to technically the second week of Switch Up September, where we're throwing it back 20 years again, thanks to Mr. Jeff McGue.
Jeff, what are we doing today?
So we are going all the way back to March of 2004. We are gonna give our confession. We are doing Confessions by Usher.
And gotta say, good pick. I've heard all the hits. Never
Yeah.
sat down and listened front to back.
I have never. We'll get back to this when we actually deep dive into the album. I have never sat down and listened to an Usher project all the way through before.
Yep, me either.
Right?
I think this is the first for a lot of us.
But like, it was an experience. Like, there was definitely something to be said about this project. So I'm excited about it.
And aren't you going to be going to see him at the end of October with the tickets that I gave you?
I think so. I think we may have had a different show come up. So, but
Because I believe that's the 28th.
is it? I have to. Yes. Give me a second. I don't remember. Dude, I have been traveling the last 3 out of 4 weekends. Like, I am so tired.
I was gonna say you've been moving. It's been a
Because
while.
how can Rachel choose another show over Usher?
Well, actually, 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
If you can do it today.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy that Is it crazy that he can sell at United Center 3 days in a row?
Yeah.
No, not at all. Like
He
did his Las Vegas residency, and like it's been a while since he's been on tour. And he's doing all of his hits.
Yeah.
Was it last year he was at the Super Bowl or this year? I should say.
No,
There's this
recently.
past year.
Yeah.
This year, I bet.
Dude, I'm so excited for this year's Super Bowl. Fun fact. So I was in Florida with my family, and the most unlikeliest person in my family, my sister, has gotten really into Kendrick because she likes not like us.
Good timing.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
Yeah. And yeah, I am just extremely excited for this Super Bowl performance.
It's gonna be.
And the rumored stadium tour he's going to be going on.
Yeah, no, that would be. Would be very.
Who's he going to have open up for him? That's what I'm curious. If he's doing a stadium tour, he's going to have a big co-headliner.
Keem.
I mean, if it's
cool.
Black Hippie.
I think it would probably be Keem.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because Keem is due for an album.
Yeah,
So
Keem.
I don't know. I think we're gonna get Schoolboy on there too because look, Schoolboy just did a small tour.
I'm here for it.
I would love that. Yeah. I think if Kendrick really wanted to blow out a stadium tour, I think his move is bring Keem.
He's gonna have 4. So I can see Keem, Schoolboy, and someone else.
Yeah,
because I think they're gonna go like big on the Schoolboy.
What I'm getting at Kendrick. Is I think you would also get a performance from the Hillbillies.
That is also true.
Yeah, so I think you could see that, like, because I think there's been rumors of that dropping. I think we're about to get a flood.
We still never got our Hillbillies project.
No, I think like that will come eventually.
Down the line. Kendrick was on a mission this year, so he has other priorities.
Yeah, he was on a crusade.
It was at this point, a very bittersweet thing because I feel like the year has came to a damn near full stop.
I don't think so. I listened to an album that came out last week that is
Rome Streets?
Yeah, Rome Streets is a top 3 album of the year for me.
Ooh.
Yeah, Hatton Garden Hold Up is a top 3 up there with Barton, Stone, and Blue Lips for me. Bando Stone. Yeah, like
I'll be taking a listen.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think the Alchemist's like last project just
that
came
was pretty
out,
good.
and that was really really good.
That was
Yeah, you're right. Like it did slow down, but like, what, what
I
do you
just
want?
remember at the beginning of the year, all of us was like, "Wait, this is actually like a lot. Like it's a lot going on."
Yeah.
But who knows? It might pick back up. We've had several delays. Big Sean was delayed and not good. ASAP Rocky is delayed, and a lot of other projects have been delayed. So
Yeah.
let's just, I guess, talk about what is coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
So
start off with the news this week. We have Mr. Pharrell. He is here. The movie is coming out, I believe,
I had
tonight.
no idea that movie was coming out this soon. I thought it was
Yeah.
way further out.
Nope, it is. I believe you can see it tonight, or if not tonight, tomorrow.
No,
But
yeah,
Piece
like
by
that's
Piece
usually how
is
movie
out.
releases work.
Yeah. Piece by Piece soundtrack is coming out with the movie tonight. I'm excited. I want to go see the movie.
I think it's a very cool concept. Like I think it would work. I am just generally kind of over music biopics, but this is creative enough to get me in.
Yeah,
And it's Pharrell. His career is like one of the most legendary in the industry.
I just heard that
been
there's
stuck for
like
a while.
already been some controversy about like certain figures not being like even in the
Oh.
movie at all. Like I forget who it's like one of the founders of NERD is like not even in the movie at all. And but then again, like I would argue that this is a movie made of Legos. Like I feel like that gives you a little bit of license.
People are just nitpicking.
Yeah, I feel like that gives you a bit of license to mythologize and make it more of a fairy tale thing.
Right.
You know,
And it's a good story. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. So
He's-
basically, I think I'm like just out to see it. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna see how people like this, and if I hear it's good, I'll definitely go.
But
Yeah, I'm definitely not one of those people who's just offended by the concept in and of itself. I think the idea of like a Lego biopic is really cool, actually.
I'll wait till it hits streaming.
Yeah.
this is the first. Well, I could be wrong. I don't know, but I feel like this is the first Lego movie about an actual artist.
Person. Yeah. No, this is the first
It
time
is.
I've ever seen anything like this.
I only think close to this would be the video games, but like that's a whole nother beast.
No, that's
But-
a completely different thing. And
Yeah.
if you count that, then there's already been like, because there was the Lego Batman movie, which was
Right.
basically
And
just
Lego
like-
movie, yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying, like the Lego Batman movie being like a Lego version of an IP versus
Oh,
like
oh,
its
yeah,
own
yeah.
IP, you know.
No, I got you. That
But
makes
yeah,
sense.
no, this is a completely different thing, and yeah, you know, it's kind of hard because like my feelings about the Lego movie is that like on one hand, I thought it was an incredible movie, but I'm also like, this was a 2-hour commercial for Legos, like.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like that's it.
I'm
But like
joking,
the
I'm
thing,
joking.
but the thing is that like as long as the movies are good, I do kind of believe that to a certain extent. I think as long as the thing stands on its own as a piece of art, like I don't really am bothered by the corporate size of it. And I think a lot of the Lego movies have been genuinely very good. I just rewatched Lego Batman the other day when me and Rachel got a bunch of weed, and it was great.
It's
Like,
just so fitting for Pharrell because he's just so unique in all of his
Yeah.
creative
No.
ideas. So
Yeah, no, I think it totally works. I think it's totally fitting. I'm excited. I'm very curious to see how it all comes together and how people respond to it.
I'm shocked we didn't get any Lego Louis Vuitton.
That's funny.
Tough.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like
We
Louis
probably
Vuitton
will.
is Too.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
it is
if we do, that's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah.
It would probably be thousands of dollars. Legos are already in style now, and people spend
Yeah.
hundreds on Lego pieces.
Dude, I am when
yeah.
I get my first paycheck, I'm buying myself the Lego Ornithopter from
There
Dune.
you go. Ooh,
Based.
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Based.
hang it
Good
right
set.
above where I store the game you got me.
Oh, okay. I like that. You
Nice.
know what? I like that. Approved.
I got Rachel a Lego bonsai tree that she has. It's really nice.
Oh yeah. I got one of those. Those are nice. That's dope. All right. Well, some other stuff coming out. We have a return of Rod Wave, very big singer in the industry. He's coming
Yeah.
out with Last Lap, which I'm actually now curious reading the title if it's the last album. I don't know. But it's always nice to hear some music from him. He's a fantastic singer. Like,
Yeah.
shockingly good.
His whole thing is not necessarily my style, but he's very good. He's very talented.
Mhm. And then what I think is going to be the highlight of the week, we have Glorilla.
Yeah,
He
debut
is
album.
here with Glorious, which is technically a self-titled album. That's her name.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
No,
am excited for that.
no, this has the potential to be huge. I think Glorilla had like an excellent EP she dropped at the beginning of the year. I think Glow is still one of the top hits of the year. You know, like that song was everywhere up until Not Like Us came out. Like,
Right.
so
And how do you
I'm
compete
excited for
with that?
this. I'm really, really excited for this.
Well, we have a lot of singles, a lot to cover. I threw in some stuff from last week as well, just because we missed a week. But to start us off, we have a surprise drop of Sir J. Cole. He
Yeah.
officially has released a single, or I don't want to say officially. He released a single yesterday.
On Instagram,
On
the
his
way people do
Instagram.
nowadays when they don't want to fully commit to something.
Right. He sampled. Oh my god, I forgot the name of the song.
It was a
The
good
sample of the song is
sample.
blowing up right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a really good sample. And essentially, the point of the song is to finally address some of the narrative around his part of the great
Why he dropped out of the war.
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hip Hop Civil
And
War.
yeah, literally. And he touches on a couple of different things, just about his connection to both Drake and Kendrick. And I don't know. I thought it was good. I don't know if you guys heard it. I've heard it now probably 7 times.
Oh, I've heard it. I like it. I mean,
Yeah, I've heard it. I heard it twice.
I'm
today.
glad he addressed it.
I think some of the claims are kind of wild. I think the Kendrick bot thing is kind of insane.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. It was a
Yeah,
bit weird.
like it's like there were so many pictures of that being played at like graduation parties and nightclubs
Yeah.
and like
yeah,
But,
that
like-
part was weird.
but like there was the beat was nice, the flow was good, and like
Lyrics had depth to it.
yeah,
It
like
wasn't just like in your face.
it certainly didn't like make me shudder at the idea of a new J. Cole project because like, you know, some of the features since
Yeah,
the
he needs to
beef has
bounce back.
been like
Right.
yeah, like even just creatively, I think he needs to bounce back. And I don't think this is as good as he has been, but I think this was like, you know, not awful either.
Just saying.
Yeah.
What if that rumored Kendrick tour is a rumored Kendrick J. Cole tour?
relax.
Yeah,
Come on.
Don't, yeah,
Come on.
I mean, if they both-
put that
if
out
they
there.
both
No,
drop
I
an
can't.
album-
I can't do it. No,
Just saying,
No.
what if?
no,
Jeff,
can't
don't
do
do
it. Don't make me
I
hope.
have spent years suffering replaying Black Friday nonstop over and over. Do
What
not
if?
put this
Yeah,
back
do not
into my life.
Do not trigger like Purvis's trauma. It's the same reason we don't say Frank Ocean 2016 around him either. Like we can't.
Just saying,
My
conspiracy.
PTSD will just take over.
Yeah, he just like convulses on the
He's
floor.
doing- He released this the same way Kendrick released his.
It would be a nice dream,
Conspiracy.
but no. God.
If that
Absolutely
gets
not.
announced at
It's gonna-
Soldier Field, we're going.
Well,
I'm gonna
yeah,
go
obviously.
regardless. I would go if Kendrick's opening act was the Last Supper Club. I would like.
What even is that?
It's like an indie band.
What a pool. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to pick like what is something shockingly not gonna fit, and I think I succeeded. Like
Oh man.
Wait.
That would be nice, Jeff. But yeah, let's
let's not.
go down that route.
Yeah, that's
Just
not
saying,
gonna-
hey,
there's nothing down.
conspiracy's gonna
There's,
start.
there's nothing down that road but pain. It's like
Yeah.
what's in the. It's like that scene in Dune. It's like what's in the box? Pain.
I'm a Chicago sports fan. I'm used to pain.
Yeah, we all are.
Dude,
All right.
see, every sport
moving
that
on.
Mark Follow now sucks. Yes.
Moving on. Let's talk about music, folks.
Speaking of Pharrell earlier, he is back doing a remix with Tyler. They're coming out with Virginia Boy, which seems to be dope. We have a combo or a collab of Lil Durk and Honcho coming out with Late Checkout. We have Return of Corday, which is actually kind of hype.
Yeah.
He's coming out with Mad as Fuck, which I feel like he is one of the lasting people from that. I don't want to put him in a SoundCloud group, but around that.
He was
team.
from the SoundCloud group. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Denzel Curry, where like he was definitely of that group. He just really evolved out of that sound pretty fast.
I
Yes.
mean, that's why he dropped the YB,
That's
because
also
he wanted be
rebrand him.
taken more professional.
No.
And it succeeded. I think he's lasted
Yeah.
Yeah.
better than the other ones.
I mean, his last single with Lil Wayne was phenomenal.
Yeah. No. It really was. He really brought Lil Wayne out of him.
Which we don't get a lot often.
Yeah, but no, he did a good job with it.
Some other stuff we have coming out. We have Absol coming out with Squeeze First 2. It should be kind of dope. We have Lupe Fiasco coming out with Pound for Pound. We have another collab, Skepta and Flo Milli coming out with Why Lie.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's gonna be intense. But I'm definitely there for that. We have a collab of Earth Gang and T-Pain, which is going to sound phenomenal.
That's gonna be so funky.
Yes, it's gonna be great.
Ridiculous.
And that's gonna call it Love You More, which again, it's just so on brand. It just makes sense.
Perfect.
I saw a tweet, T-Pain and Pitbull dancing on stage. It's just like they're just very happy to not be included in the Diddy parties. And then last but not least, we have our two Angel Boys. We have 2 freestyles coming out in the last 2 weeks. Jid coming out with a 31 freestyle. Denzel coming out today with the Mystic freestyle. Very exciting.
Very exciting time. Very exciting time. I love that Denzel just is kind of constantly releasing music. He's like always like has a freestyle. He's always kind of out there. And Jid,
that works.
I hope Jid is. I heard there was an album.
He's supposed to have like 3 albums this year, but it is October.
It is October, and there hasn't been any. So
reevaluating that statement.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like any artist that drops the Forever Story, I'm gonna give him at least 3 years before I start being like, "Where's what's next?" Especially someone who tours as much as Jid.
Yes.
Right. But
pretty sure he's on tour right now.
Yeah. And this is awesome. I love just getting constant little freestyles from these dudes. They're clearly 2 of the best in the game right now. And what else is it? What is there to say? Like going back to like the late of last decade, you and me have been really calling these 2 out as the ones to watch.
Jid's probably the most proud one for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. You were on the Jid wagon early.
Very early.
Yeah.
Very early. But yeah. On to the actual news.
Yeah, a lot of it actually.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Childish Gambino tour has now gone from postponed to officially canceled. He did post something on his Twitter. It was vague, but clear enough where
health issues.
With health. Exactly.
He was having surgery on something.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we don't really know what's wrong, but it's health issues.
I have a theory.
For me,
I think it was something vocal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I heard it was COVID, and that could easily have gone on to something vocal.
Well,
Jasper, what's your theory?
This happened 6 years ago when he went on tour for the Awaken My Love tour. Luckily, he made his Chicago stop, but later on in the tour, he hurt his foot and had to cancel the remaining shows, including the one in Seattle a buddy of mine was supposed to go to.
Did he ever redo them?
No.
No.
So I'm wondering if maybe he's got like some other flared up injury just from like moving around on stage, Maybe it's a foot thing.
That also could be totally possible. Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
He is up there dancing, giving a full show.
So I hope he
Prediction: we get him at Lollapalooza next year.
Oh yeah. That's certainly very possible now. But yeah, no. But to be honest, I wanted the stadium show.
Yeah.
Saying.
Yeah, like but yeah.
Those lights look insane.
Yeah. I think given like how much accolade he was getting for this live show, I think he's gonna finish the tour.
He fucking better, dude. I swear to God.
I would like that.
And like
Please.
I'm just happy
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I think he's
especially with how he's been hyping it up, like he's like this album was made for him to go on tour and perform.
Donald, I think people do give a fuck.
That's right.
Yeah.
We most definitely do.
Yeah. But at least for me personally, this feels great because now I'll be able to get good seats and buy merch and everything. So
yes, absolutely. we'll run it back. And
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote that in, but that is also a good point. It has been a terrible year for cancellations. I feel like within the last year has been
Refresh my memory because I know we had Travis.
So
at least
Travis
for me, I've
rescheduled.
had 3.
Yeah,
Travis rescheduled.
Yeah,
We had half of Summer Smash Day 3 rained out, including missing
Yeah.
Denzel Curry. And
We had
Denzel is not doing
Schoolboy.
solo shows. Schoolboy got rescheduled. We had the cancellation of there was another really like high profile one that just happened.
For me, I missed out on Porter Robinson. I was
Porter
supposed to see him
Robinson.
last weekend, and he canceled.
Kid Cudi, his tour was canceled
Oh,
because
Kid
he
Cudi's
broke
Kid
he
Cudi,
broke his
that's
foot at Coachella.
no, that's a big one.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of cancels or
Yeah.
delays.
No,
one of the two.
okay. Hey, now that we're all saying them, now I agree. I was like,
It's been a lot.
yeah,
It's been absurd, but
yeah. No, it has, but I don't know. I guess I'm just grateful that like most of the shows I've seen this year have still been very good.
right, yeah. I mean, I'm thankful for what I get, but for sure,
Yeah.
it's standing out because I don't think I've ever experienced a canceled show.
No,
prior to,
yeah.
like,
Right,
this.
yeah, and it's been like weird because they all kind of handled it very odd. Because like Travis was probably we'll start on the other side. Schoolboy Q, it was rescheduled instantly,
yeah.
and it was just
Right.
3 days.
Yeah, well,
later.
his was due to planes not being able to leave.
Yeah,
Also, his
Travis
first show
was just being
supposed to be in Canada.
stupid.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do think like Travis like rescheduled pretty fast.
He did.
He
And I
did,
was
but he was
happy
just
for the
being stupid.
turnaround, but yeah, no, that was just like a why.
What are
To
you
this
doing?
day, whenever I'm frustrated, I yell out, "Why are you on a plane, jockeys?" Like,
How did you go from Detroit to Saudi Arabia within a 2-day span? Why are you there?
insane. Yeah.
Why are you like this? But that's actually a decent segue into my little self-insert news item here.
I'm assuming this is days before.
Indeed.
Oh, there it is.
It
Actually,
finally
that's what it's like.
exists. We finally got a vinyl version of Days Before Rodeo as part of the official rollout on streaming. And there were all kinds of cool little things to go with it. And yeah, we are now one Travis record away from the
Al
full set.
Farrow?
Al Farrow.
I'm assuming that's
I
never
need,
gonna come out.
I
yet.
need it.
Uh,
I need it.
It's never gonna come out.
There are unofficial pressings out there, but I need a real one.
I'll give you that, I guess. Dude, I'm still waiting for my Schoolboy Q. I bought Oxymoron, I think, a year ago.
Damn.
Oh no.
That's
It's just, like,
crazy.
TDE is like infamously trash. I'm so close to I saw that at Walmart, and I'm like, bro,
Did you get like some special edition or something, or is it just like the regular one?
it's like the official one that has like a tie-dye print, which I
Oh,
get, but like,
just hold on for it. It'll be
damn
cool.
it. I know.
Yeah.
I've been holding for a year. I'm holding. It's just annoying.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And to follow that up, we got some cool news. Travis is the headliner for Complex Con this year or this coming year, and he is going to be
That's
having
nice.
a Cactus Con sub convention within it with all kinds of really fucking insane brands that you never see at this stuff. And like for someone who very much appreciates the intersection of music and fashion and like
Right.
just general like art, this is like a very cool list of brands that have come together to do this. This is really interesting.
I was taking a look at it. It's actually pretty dope. I didn't know it's connected to Complex Con. That makes
Yeah,
a lot
that-
more sense now.
Yeah. Now it makes a lot more sense to me too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm here for it. I don't want to make the claim because I'm not 100% confident. But if this is the first of its kind, this is dope. I'm here for
Yeah,
it.
no,
and
this-
I would love a Dreamville version. I would.
This
fly to
is
that.
this is definitely interesting. I mean, like I don't know. I feel like with cons, I have the feeling of because I go to like the comic book cons and everything, and
Which
like
are
I
pretty cool.
yeah, no, they're a lot of fun. And I definitely think a thing like this would be a lot of fun. I mean, like certainly these things have subcultures around them. So whenever you have that, just being able to get everyone into a room like via a con is a lot of fun. So I do think this is very cool and very genuinely innovative. At the same time though, at regular cons, I'm already like, this is a little bit too commercialized, like a little bit too like buying and like everyone's just paying money to come in here and buy shit already kind of thing. So naturally, like taking that step,
It comes
like,
with a con.
it comes with the con to a certain extent. So yeah, 100%, I agree with that. But it's just like that's just the
It
general
will
feeling.
be hyperinflated at this
Yeah, it's going to be a hyperinflated thing, but
general.
it's about the experience. So I do appreciate them just doing this and like just having it be a new take on something that's like honestly kind of obvious, you know. I just think like, is he actually gonna do the con stuff? Like, is he gonna do like meet and greets and shit?
No,
I
he's
feel like
the
it'd be too much.
performer.
I doubt it.
Like, so I went to the
Wouldn't be
only
able to pull
Complex
it off.
Con that took place in Chicago in 2019. They did
Yeah.
1 year and then COVID hit. And basically the way it works is like the artist will show up, there's a stage, they perform for their like time slot, and then they basically just head out anyway. It's just that like it's more exclusive because there's limited tickets to a con, not like a concert, and there's no assigned seating, so it's just like people there. So I saw like Rick Ross when I was there in
Oh, that's cool.
2019. Yeah, and basically, yeah, it was just that, and like he's probably gonna have like a Cactus Jack pop up or stand or whatever. For example, like Juice World had like the 999 stuff there back in
Yeah.
2019, like that was a booth, but Juice World wasn't there per se. At least not at that time. He was like a panelist on Hot Ones, whatever else he performed later on, like a different day, but he was not at the booth, like stuff like that.
That makes sense. The booth is too accessible, I feel like, for
Totally,
people at this level.
totally.
Um, very. It's kind of off topic, but I heard you mention Rick Ross, and I didn't put in the news. Did you know Wild and Out had like a show here last night?
Yeah.
What?
Like, Wild and Out had a show at the United Center last
Yeah,
night.
yeah. Chance
It's
the
like,
Rapper was part of it, I
yes,
believe.
Chance was there,
Rick
Rick
Ross.
Ross was
Yeah.
there, Waka Flocka was there.
Waka
Oh yeah.
Flocka?
Yeah, what's all these music artists doing here? But then I realized I was like, oh, Wild and Out had a show here, which
That's
like
hilarious.
kind of wish I went a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but on to the rest of the news. I
Yeah,
just want
no.
to throw that in there.
But no, that's a cool. I think that's a cool like little innovation in the space.
Mm, for sure.
I just wish like if you were in the con sphere, you were like I get like at these people are like way more famous than anyone that would be at a Comic Con, but like if Robert Downey Jr. can sign autographs at a con, like
Yeah, it's.
Why
I
can't-
mean,
why can't Travis
Yeah.
Scott?
The fan base is different. That's the real issue.
it's and
Is
also
it
I think
really-
it's like
Is
I think they call it a con, but it's fundamentally it's just a very different crowd. It's like you're going
Yeah.
to shop a curated thing versus
Yeah.
you're going to like geek out.
yeah.
No one's gonna be in cosplay or something like that.
That's not what
Yeah.
I was
It'd be
suggesting.
like-
I just think like it's about like the culture of what those things are actually about. Like what is fundamentally different than going to a con and going to a concert if they're just performing. You know what I mean?
It's like Complex Con. If I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, Jasper. Isn't it just like a concert with like other smaller venues for like sneakers? Everything Complex is really involved in.
Sort of. It's like it's basically like the best way to describe it, I think, would be like a fair almost.
Yeah.
It's like an indoor fair.
Yeah.
That's how
And
I
you've
was
got-
kind of picturing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got vendors everywhere who are like adjacent to the brand or like are brands that Complex, the magazine, the publication deems to be like hot, popular, whatever. And they have booths and they sell like limited exclusive merchandise, whatever, or like have
Yeah.
exclusive experiences. So like you
Labs,
could
stuff like that. Yeah.
you could go and like Kith is just an example because New York shit, but like Kith, and I don't think they did this, but they could have like a booth where you've got basketball, like
Yeah.
shoot, make as many baskets as you can. You get
Yeah,
the
like
chance to buy
activation
this like
stuff,
rare
yeah.
thing, yeah, like activation type stuff, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like all indoor, and then there's like time slots for music, and there's like food. It was at McCormick Place last time,
Yeah.
just like Complex Con is, or not Complex, like Comic Con,
Mhm.
C2E2, so
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
I would like to go to one. I've been missing out on that. Just
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, it was 2019 was real cool. There was a lot of really cool people, met a lot of cool people, just very interesting vibe, very interesting crowd. So I'd love for them to bring it back.
No.
I unfortunately didn't know you then, but we'll run it back.
All right. What's the next one? I believe it
Yes.
involves our favorite
The
man.
goat? Like,
Hey yo,
Yeah.
right.
The absolute the
Got him.
godfather of the podcast, I would say.
Purvis, did you like the West Side Gun impression?
Dude, it's every time I see an Instagram message that's like a paragraph from you, I know it's one of those freestyles, and I'm like, "Days, mate." This is exactly what I needed.
I don't know. The last one didn't get the love, but we'll see. I'll have to come with better.
I do like them. Sometimes I might miss them, but I do like them. But West Side Gun has announced the release date for his next album called Still Praying that will be releasing November 1st. I will be there. I'm very excited for this. And He's also he has a partnership recently with might be saying it wrong. Is it Saucony?
Saucony.
That's yeah, yeah,
Saucony, yeah.
Saucony.
He
Unless
has
you're
a
from like
influencer
Virginia,
collab
then it's
shoe.
Saucony.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
they're just
think
like
he
a
has
running training shoe.
right. It's some kind of collab with the shoe, and it seems to be the entire label Griselda, and not
Yeah.
necessarily him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, I am here for it. Let's go.
So excited. Give me album of the year.
I will say the
Yeah.
most consistent labels gotta be Griselda at this
Gotta
point.
be.
Like, Jesus.
It's insane. Just absolute wild that we get to watch this thing happen.
But we'll never get us what was it, Stove God Cooks album
Yeah,
or something.
Stove God not allowed to release.
We're never gonna get an extra album from him.
He doesn't cook. He just meal preps.
Nah.
Basically.
He's there to
Forever
do
feature.
ad libs on West Side Gun projects, and that's it. That's why he
You
has
know
like
what?
6
Love it.
features on every West Side Gun project.
Yeah.
It's a make your own project. You just have to go through and find the verses you like from Stove God Cooks and make your own album. Like,
Hey, it'll be an A-tier album, whatever you come up with.
yeah.
Um
Speaking of this sphere, kind of like,
yes, I was about to say adjacent because Alchemist produces half their shit. Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist have opened a restaurant together. I should have wrote the name. I didn't write the name.
I feel
down.
like
But it's
every
good.
guy has a point in their life where they get real fucked up with one of their friends, and they're like, "We should open a restaurant." And I'm just happy that Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist are actually doing it.
Right. They can
Alfredo.
actually do it.
It's called Alfredo.
Yeah,
Wow,
Alfredo's
that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that album so much.
Alfredo's restaurant.
Is the Alchemist Italian?
No, he's Jewish.
All right, well, never mind. I tried.
Yeah, I know it
Um,
bothers me too.
Look, I tried to give it to you. But
No.
yeah, they opened a restaurant, and look, that's exciting. I'm
That's
dope.
very fun. If I'm ever in that area, I will go there and eat it
Yes.
and call the waiter a baby and fool. Babies and fools.
Moving on from that, we mentioned it briefly earlier. I think Jeff brought it up, but we were speaking about Kendrick earlier, and we have heard that both Kendrick Lamar and Rihanna have declined headlining for the 2025 Coachella Festival, and that is due to a rumor that is now spreading that Jesus Christ, that Kendrick Lamar will be going on tour next year, which obviously means an album release.
Yeah.
And Rihanna's just rich. She doesn't need that.
No, she
Not
doesn't
looking
got
good
it.
for Coachella.
Rihanna's got kids.
Yeah, no, Coachella's had a rough couple of years.
They're trying to bring
They've
it
been
back.
struggling big time.
Yeah.
It sucks. They struggle, I think, because it's 2 weekends.
Yeah, that is doing a bit much.
Yeah, I agree.
So whenever you commit, you have to commit for both weekends usually.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't help as well that the venue isn't very well ran, and
yeah,
you
not
live
very
in a
well,
tent
not
in
very
the middle of the
accessible.
desert.
Yeah.
And like the prices are like triple every other
Absurd.
music festival.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention all the associated costs that you just like, it's insane. It's smaller crowds. I think it's becoming less and less worth it for the artist. So yeah, why would they?
Right. It just
I
doesn't
mean,
make
even when you look at Lollapalooza is just becoming a social gathering where it's like, oh, let me show off my fucking Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
true.
but on the other side to that, I would say the thing about Lollapalooza, and like also like this is true, I think, for like Summer Smash or Rolling Loud, like you fly into an airport in a major city, you sit in a limo for an hour, and then you get to the venue, right? You don't have to go through all the hubbub of getting to the fucking desert.
Mhm.
I think
Facts.
I think that is
And surviving in the desert.
yeah. And then having to do that twice. Like
Well,
now
Yeah.
what I've heard, most people do one weekend at least, which is nice.
no,
like,
but
it's the
if
same
you're an
artist.
artist, you have to do
Oh, I see what you mean. My
yeah,
bad.
if you're that's what I'm saying is that I think that's why someone like a Kendrick Lamar will do a Lollapalooza or a Rolling, not obviously not for programming reasons, but like
yeah.
basically any other music festival, like Bonnaroo, all of them that are in like major areas that are easy to get to, right? Coachella is just like, at that point, might as well perform at Burning Man.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
What's next? What's next? Oh, this one's a fun
yes.
one.
Yes, which actually lines up with a year of doom.
Yeah.
Food is now
Last album
or
next
just-
week.
Yeah, next week. It just recently reached the 20th anniversary, and it is releasing the 20th anniversary edition. It will also include a Mad Lib remix collab, and it also dropped a lot of really dope merch, which I'm very tempted
Yeah,
to buy.
the merch was very cool for this. I gotta say.
Oh yeah, next week I'm already committed to buying at least
You've already
one T-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
hoodies is
definitely
nice.
buying at least one.
Hey,
I
I'm not mad at you. I get it.
if they're still available when my money comes through, this might be my first merch purchase.
Like I'm even tempted on buying the cereal bowl and the spoon with that
Yeah.
comes with a little action figure. Like
Look, I get it. I'm
that's
not mad
very
at you.
It's
and it comes
very
in a cereal box.
It's very cool, dude.
I'm looking at the vinyl, $65, and then the other one, the 20th edition, is $35. That's not bad.
What's the difference?
I mean, one comes with a 7-inch vinyl also.
And all
It's the deluxe.
remix stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I have it pulled up right now. The hoodies look nice. Look, if anyone that does an artist justice after their passing, MF Doom has gotten the appropriate appreciation. I
Yeah.
would say.
And also, like, I think for the record, I think doing something like this, like going all out for a 20th anniversary, I think that is totally above board when someone passes. Right? Like,
it just makes sense.
Yeah, like, I think this makes total sense. I think it's been cultivated really well. I'm into it. I like this. I would definitely spend money on this if I had money to spend on this.
They have an apron for $90.
I would buy that. I would buy that, and I would whip up delicious meals all the time.
Look, if I'm buying any kitchen merch, it's gonna be Action Bronson, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
I want his book.
You need to get the cookbook, otherwise you're not a
Yeah,
fan.
fuck, that's
Actually,
delicious.
no, I actually do need to get that. I'm not even.
Yeah,
joking.
no,
Thank you for reminding me.
it's been in my Amazon cart for like 4 months.
I will be looking into that
Yeah.
immediately. But to end off our news, just a small little thing. Yeet has been teasing his album, seems to be releasing as soon as next week. He put up some kind of poll or response thing on his Instagram for people to react to. In a little snippet video in Yeet fashion, I will be here.
In Yeet fashion.
Yeah.
I will be here.
So, balaclava.
Yes, literally. Full face mask, everything.
I mean, I'll be here. I was very impressed by the most recent album.
If he keeps up the
But
same
you know
momentum,
me.
I'm happy.
If this
Real
some
Twizzy
ass,
shit
I'm
right
going to
here.
let him know.
Real
We
Twizzy
are
shit right
aware.
here.
Yeah, if this is some ass, I'm going to let him know.
We're going to 3,093 this time.
2095,000, like just put numbers together until you come up with an album name.
But yeah,
I mean,
that is all.
with him and Gambino getting a little close, I would go 3,095.
You know what?
Ah,
I'm
Oh
here
my
for
God.
it.
and I thought my jokes were bad.
So at least it was a joke. Yours are puns. That is
I will give you that.
that is the amoeba of a joke. Like
Oh,
The whites are at it again.
the whites.
I haven't said that. in a long-
blocked
gonna-
none of you are free
I
from
haven't said that
sin.
in
I'm
a
gonna-
long time. Are we cutting that?
No, I'm gonna edit in like a thing that says like da 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 da.
That's what we're putting on TikTok. That one piece.
The whites are at it again.
Damn, I haven't said that in a long time. But anyway.
I say it all the time. It's unfortunate.
Well, let's go ahead, jump right into our topic. We are doing a second week of September Switch Up. 2 weeks ago, we did the Green Day American Idiot, which was fantastic. I enjoyed visiting that. This week, we will be doing Usher Confessions, recommended by Sir Jeff. And I gotta say,
This
damn
was a good one.
recommendation. Yes. Coming up on the 20-year anniversary. I don't know if there's anything released for the 20th year. I don't recall. But I'm glad we were doing it. We had a lot of fun. Has anyone actually listened to this album front to back prior to us having to?
Front to back? No.
Not since
Okay.
I was a kid.
Front to
And
back.
the thing is, you're a kid. This album has a whole different meaning. Like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
completely different.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like,
Yeah, you're a kid. This is a much different album.
Right. Did
well,
you listen front to back as an
especially
adult?
like me and Brandon, like we're hitting middle school. We're going
Yeah.
to middle
That's
school
true.
dances,
Yeah.
They
going through
definitely
puberty
played
and
it.
all that.
Yeah. This
And so,
was
like, they definitely were playing this.
a wild album to be 12 years old when it came out.
This is a wild album to be 10 years old. Not
Yeah.
10, but like even younger. And you guys are in middle school. I was in elementary school listening to this at a school party.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, you got us there.
Well,
Like, come on now.
to your defense, you're black. Like,
That is true.
Your
But I
mom's
grew up
listening
in
to
the
this.
suburbs. Like,
That happens sometimes.
God
Get
damn it.
used to it. Like,
it doesn't
just-
matter. I was around the white people.
That's just the definition of the
and we're
Key and Peele.
sorry. Like,
Dude, that's just the Key and Peele Black Republican skit. We are not a monolith.
it's a good one.
That's a good pull.
That was
Okay.
a good one. That was an
That's a
excellent
good
pull. That was an excellent pull, Jasper. Thank
I'll
you.
give you that.
Dude, God damn it.
I'm sorry, but yeah, getting back on subject. I was 8 when this album came out.
Yeah, I was 12.
and I have
Maybe
come
11.
to-
Yeah, I was 11.
yeah. I've come to the realization. I text all my cousins. I have a cousin group chat, and they're all in their 30s. And my first realization listening to this front to back is like, why does Usher get a pass for everything? This entire album is about him cheating.
Yeah.
And girls love him. What's going on here?
Yeah, this MF
And-
horny.
And if I'm not wrong, it came out that he like allegedly passed around like an STD
Yes.
during this album and all that.
People didn't care. He was
No.
on tour passing out STDs.
No, that's because the music was that good. That's
The music was that.
that's
good.
how good Caught Up is.
I mean,
It is a classic.
That's how good that song is. That
It's a classic. I can't
Like,
even
that's-
be mad at that.
we could say
I
the
find it
same
When
thing.
really-
R&B was
We
pop
could say
back
the
then.
same thing about The Weeknd.
Oh yeah, 100%. When I reach 40, yeah. When like
Oh,
we're
yeah.
showing our kids and like, oh, Uncle
Yeah.
Purvis, like, what is this? Oh, this is The Weeknd. This is what your father listens to. Like, yes, absolutely.
I find it so funny that the Boondocks decided to make all these fictional rappers to have, but then they just talk about Usher like in
Yeah.
the background in some episodes. It's like, why couldn't
don't
you have done
even have
episodes about
time.
this? There's so much content here. This would have been so ripe for the Boondocks, and they never touched it.
The Boondocks is a classic show, and they knew Usher, untouchable. We say Usher's name. But
Yeah.
Like, if you could do Gangstalicious, you can do Usher. Come on now.
I guess that's fair.
I agree.
But obviously Usher is a staple to the
Yeah.
black community and to the R&B community.
And he really did
That
set the
guy
tone for like
nowadays.
what R&B would be coming out of the 90s and into the 2000s.
Yes.
You
yeah,
know-
he, the audio production, he helped shift how R&B started producing things. He helped invent crunk R&B,
Yeah.
like the whole
Yeah.
crunk, like Lil Jon.
Very
We wouldn't
true.
have, like, he kind of helped build Lil Jon's career.
Yeah, he
Like, Lil
did.
Jon's a producer on this album.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he did a damn good job.
Jasper, I just want to let
but,
you
like,
know
with
you
that
got
whole-
one of those. Then you're racist. Like,
Really?
Crunk R.
you're one of those.
Alright.
You give
Go
him
ahead,
one.
They hate us
Yeah,
'cause- they hate
go
us 'cause
ahead,
they ain't
Jeff.
us.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
But like with the whole crunk and R&B whole combination, like that helped Chris Brown grow, that
Facts.
helped Sierra grow, and like we wouldn't have those two if it wasn't for
no, yeah,
Usher.
no, I totally agree with it. I think it
On
was
top of all the artists that he also found.
yeah,
Mm.
I think it was a very big like genre. Like this was a genre moment. Like I think like the
Yeah.
equivalent to like this in our age like was probably like when Miguel and The Weeknd and Frank Ocean like came out, and that was like
Mhm.
the big turn for R&B in our age. I
Yeah.
think this was, switching from groups like Boys to Men to
Yeah.
like groups like Usher, Chris Brown, Sierra, like that kind of sound. Like this was
Bringing the whole
another,
dancing back into R&B,
yeah, bringing a
break
lot of
dancing.
dancing, R&B that could be played in clubs. Like I really think
hmm
was like a thing, and like you could kind of tell that because, full disclosure, yeah, the second track on this song, Rachel's favorite song.
I mean,
Like
It's a
great
classic.
song.
this could.
Yeah.
We were at a bar in Panama City Beach last weekend with my cousins, and my cousin was like asked a question like, "What song could wake you from a coma?" And that was
Oh
her
yeah,
answer.
that's a good answer.
Yeah,
That's a good answer.
mine was Backseat
Yeah.
Freestyle. Like,
Also a good answer.
Checks out.
Yeah.
The
But yeah,
world
no.
for 72 hours.
It really, really did set that standard, and
And this was in the whole height of the illegal streaming,
Yeah,
and this was one of
that
the
too.
first albums to kind of like quote unquote save the record industry. Like it sold 1.1 million copies in the first week. First, that's the highest since the Eminem show in 2002 back then. And by the end of the year, it sold over 8 million albums.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I mean,
No,
in that time, that's so wild.
it was one of the highest selling albums of the 2000s.
it's gone
Yeah,
platinum.
it's
Yeah.
still one of the highest selling albums of the 2000s.
Yeah,
It, yeah, honestly,
I mean-
even if you look at some of the other people, I was trying to do some research because like Trey Songz was coming out then, R.I.P. Lloyd was coming out then.
R.I.P..
Genuine was coming. Right, all these people that I'm listing is really R.I.P.
yeah. Like
Genuine was coming out. Chris Brown
Genuine was
came
great.
out afterwards. Right,
I mean,
But, like-
Genuine always going to be the one hit wonder with Pony.
yeah, absolutely. And even John Legend, even he himself, which is much more like love making R&B. I had to like remind myself while I was visiting this album that like taking myself out of 2024, the pop music right now is very clearly hip hop, but that was not always the case. Like R&B was the pop
Yeah.
music for an extended period of time,
yeah,
and
Mhm.
like this is R&B pop music. Like you would actually hear this going out on the radio at a club. Like this was
Yeah.
the main music.
this played
It's
this played
crazy.
on the
Yep.
radio. My parents listened to this. This was music.
Literally.
Like I think like the singles for this were like for everyone. Like really at a level that
Yes.
very few genres can really actually achieve, right? Like
Him
like
and
pop,
Alicia Keys was taking over.
dude, that My Boo song, like that the
Him and Alicia Keys together was just like
Jesus. Dangerous.
it was like something we never heard before.
Yeah.
It was that good.
and
Throw
look,
in
Alicia
Justin
Keys was
Timberlake.
coming up at the time too, and she's a
And she
fucking
was
le-
blowing up at the time.
Yeah, and she's a
Mhm.
legend. You know, she is
She is a legend.
yeah, you know. But yeah, I really do think this because it set the standard not just for R&B but also for pop at the time. Because like at the
Mhm.
time, the other big selling pop like album, I think the only album that outsell that the year it came out was the No Strings the In Sync album. It was
What is that called?
I think it is No Strings Attached, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah, it's what the puppets, the miniatures.
So
I
you know,
forget.
I think like this one just set like as like the boy band phase was dying off, like this was the next. Yeah, the same way it was the wheel turning with R&B, I think it was the wheel turning with pop too, and it really was just like perfect time, perfect place. Because, I mean, I don't think I hear other Usher albums talked about the same way I hear this one talked about. Right? Like I have heard like my whole life I've heard like this album talked about like as a listening experience, you know, the same way we talk about, you know, College Dropout, you know,
Mhm.
Black Star.
The whole storytelling experience with this album
Yeah.
just
There's a lot
started
more.
to take off with storytelling in R&B albums to where it's not
Definitely.
like baby making, love making music, where it's
Exactly, yeah.
more poppy, more club hits,
Because how do you make
more
an
something you
album
can break
about-
dance to.
Yeah, I can't wrap my mind around the fact that this man has made one of the biggest R&B albums ever, and it's literally about cheating. It's like,
Yeah, it's called
it
Confessions.
blows my mind that like
I mean-
it is so successful.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's 3 different songs about confessing. Like,
Jasper, I feel like we've heard from you the least. Do you have a history with Usher? Did you like Usher?
Do you hate Usher?
I have very little knowledge of Usher other than what I have absorbed through pop culture and eventually going to school with other kids who knew who Usher was.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Welcome to Usher. Like
Right.
I've heard all the hits off of this. Of course, I
Right,
was
right,
around for when McGue came back and was popular on Vine when people were like singing that.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
Shout out Vine.
yeah.
I've never once thought to sit down and listen to a project like this all the way through. I can't say it was my favorite listening experience on this podcast. Like, I can recognize that it's good and it's influential and the way it's mixed and produced is excellent.
Mhm.
I think a lot of the stuff, I don't want to say it doesn't hold up because musically it really does, but just like some of the stuff, it's like it feels like it takes itself really seriously. But like, I
When it-
can't picture a world in which I would listen to this that isn't ironic. You know, it's like I would never listen to this seriously. So hearing it's like it just comes off as really goofy to me.
I get it.
Like the
I
R. Kelly
can
Trapped
relate
in the
to
Closet series.
Yeah, and the fact that the deluxe edition is 77 minutes long. It's like it's
Yeah.
almost a meme in and of itself.
Yeah,
It
this
is
was
very intense.
a
I'll give you that.
long album, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And
I-
they don't have the non-deluxe version on streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
the
the
deluxe.
It
dude,
is a
the
reminder.
monologue at the end of the Confessions song, I was
Yeah.
like, bro, I can't with this. Like,
Yeah.
Batman
rough.
could not make me monologue like this. Like, bro could dangle me over a rooftop and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, that's
Just drop me.
that's
It-
insane.
it's so funny you say that because even before Jeff had recommended this, I like saw on Twitter that it was trending that like if I lived in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and like you're a girl dating a celebrity, I would hate dating because they just put everything out there. Like all the news is out there. Like
I
Usher could
barely
have
even know.
cheated and apologized like underneath, like no one had to know. It could have been behind closed doors. No, he dropped a whole album and went on one of the biggest tours ever about him cheating. Like, how is this allowed?
I guess that's a great way to not get blackmailed, but like, whatever.
Yeah, he kind of turned a negative into a positive when you say it that way, Jack.
He's like, babe, I said sorry. What?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I agree. I think
Yeah,
it
it
was
was at the
worth
live
it.
show
Right.
in Los Angeles.
babe, I'm performing about it. Come see my show. Like talking about me cheating.
Yeah. It's like it's not gonna happen twice. I'm doing a whole album about it. Like,
It's like if Kanye were to perform, what's that little song, Lil Pump? I love it, and like Kim K's
Oh
there.
my god.
Back when that was a thing.
Right. Back when he looked like a Roblox character. Yeah,
God.
good time.
the world is awful. Time is
We
punishment.
didn't know the good times while we're living through it.
No, we didn't.
Those were
Little
not the
did we
good
know.
times.
Little did we
It
know.
was better than
2013.
where we're at now.
2013 was a lot better than we gave it credit for.
God.
We're settling for
Anyway, should we
Roblox
talk about the
characters.
tracks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so puts its biggest song right at the second track, which I
Banger.
think is is a just classic of a song. It's played at every wedding for a reason.
At every party in existence. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
and
even matter where you're going.
yeah, I think like this first 7 tracks are like really really strong, like.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I think everything Jasper said about Confessions being goofy is true. It's goofy.
An hour and 18 minutes.
It's, but I
No,
do
you
think
gotta hear
there
'em
are,
out.
Hey, the Apple Music one's an
sorry.
hour 19.
yeah,
Ah, jeez.
Spicy.
yeah. But I do think like songs like, I think specifically Burn and Caught Up are just like excellent, just truly excellent R&B songs, right?
Yes.
And another thing is that like I do think this album is a bit long in the tooth. I do think it is like it kind of overstays its welcome. Like, and it makes sense. This was the deluxe edition. This was in the era of like, you know, put out an like if you're going to pay to ship, you know, a thing with 3 CDs, you're gonna fucking fill those CDs with shit because people had to pay for it anyway.
Exactly.
So, you know, capitalism has been forcing people to release albums that are too long before streaming started. But that's neither here nor
Like,
there.
streaming wasn't the issue. It is an issue.
It's
but
making it worse. But yes, you're right.
It is an issue, but it wasn't the core issue.
It's gas on the flame. It's not the flame. Like, yeah, because like to me, I feel like once you hit, because I also really did like Superstar quite a lot, but I think True Third, Simple Things, and Bad Girl were like,
yeah,
yeah,
the middle kind of falls off a little.
yeah. You know, it's
I mean,
not.
Caught Up's also really good. Can't
No,
overlook that.
I love Caught Up. I think Caught Up might be my favorite song on the album, actually.
It's up there.
And I
Dude,
also
Hot
think it
Sleeper was
closes well.
throwback. Mm. So I guess what might be more efficient, what's like, don't say the hits. What's your top 3 songs that like you discovered by actually going back and listening to front to back? Because like for me, Throwback, I don't think I had ever heard previously. I really enjoyed Throwback.
Yeah,
like,
that
a
one's
lot.
up there for me too.
The second one for
Yep,
me, that's
same
what
here.
it's made for. I had never, ever in my life heard this song. This is one of the best lovemaking songs I think I have ever heard.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It is phenomenal for me. Like those two, I don't think I had heard previously, and that's the ones that I was like, damn, how did I not listen to this front to back?
Yeah. So for me, I would say I had no idea Caught Up was on this album. Like I knew
Really?
this. Yeah, I had no idea it was on this album. I had no idea like what the name of that song was. It's just that when I heard it, like
Instantly,
I
you're
remembered
like,
it.
okay.
So I'm not gonna count it. So I would definitely say also Throwback. That was one I had not heard. Superstar, and then that's what it's made for. I also did really like the closer. Follow Me.
Oh, Follow Me? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't like. I think of this. I don't think songwriting or song composition is at all the problem on this album at all. Like I think a lot of it is of its time, yes, but like very well constructed. I think it's a fairly well sequenced album. I just think like it could use a little bit of passive editing. I think it could stand to be maybe 3 or 4 songs shorter. But once again, I understand the economic conditions that led to this.
At that time, it was all about having long
as
albums.
putting as much as you
Yeah.
can on the CD, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Before you have
like-
to make it a double album.
yeah,
People
putting
were
as much,
also allowed more time to actually make the music
Yeah.
between albums, where there's a lot more
And
pressure now.
CDRs back then were just starting to get bigger.
yeah. This was
Because
really,
it was still in the early ages of CD.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's
and
true.
like you know, before that, if you were like really vinyl was where you had the era of like shorter albums because you could just sell a smaller vinyl, and then the idea was like, oh, people were literally paying less money for a shorter album.
Yeah.
You know, but then when CD happened, there was no incentive to make a shorter album, and now it's kind of the same thing, except because there's so much, I think there's now more of an incentive to just stick out creatively, and that's like, you know, how we get
Yeah.
like the Kanye West 7-song albums, but that's not.
And you also got to think about, like, even back then, yes, you had to pay for the actual physical possession of something, but it was a lot more affordable back
Yeah.
then. I'll put it that way. Like, it wasn't.
Well, yeah,
crazy.
like people had more money.
right.
It was a lot more
You
affordable.
can be more flexible with your money.
You know, yeah, it was a different time, you know. It was there just wasn't a time like back then if we all wanted to hear Utopia, one of us would buy it and then we would go to someone's house. That was the only way.
Or
I
just
mean,
burn it on a CD or something like.
I mean, yeah,
If you had a friend that had a computer that
if
can
you
do
had
that,
a friend
yeah.
that could do
Exactly, yeah.
that was not to be take. You know, the only way you could guarantee it is, I mean, one, if everyone could just go buy the album. You know, it was $15-$20, which was, you know, we could have afforded that at the time, but you know, that's not my point. You know,
Right.
you know, like
That's true.
even that stuff, you know, that puts a serious like time, like, oh, you're at least waiting a week to listen to this album. You know, and I think the most fascinating era is when you fast forward maybe 5 years after this, where like people are still mostly getting their music through CDs or at least full album purchases digitally because streaming hasn't taken off, but people are already started talking about music online. You already have like chat rooms and stuff. I think that's the most fascinating era.
You have LimeWire killing everyone's computer.
Yeah.
Right. I was gonna say playing into like where iTunes was an actual thing. You would pay for the song. where like now it's just streaming. It's
Yeah.
it's an entirely different platform.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I probably still have somewhere around, I probably have like 75 to 150 burnt CDs
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
when I
didn't-
from
listen
that
to this,
time.
Yeah. I didn't
From
have
that time still.
mhm,
I didn't have a computer like ever as a kid.
no,
My sister had one, so I would always kill it with LimeWire.
I just remember like I was telling Isaac when I was at a wedding last weekend, and when I hear songs from this era, including songs from this album, like I was telling Isaac like I feel
Blackout.
myself sitting in a red Altima Nissan, just like Isaac pulling up to the middle school and a bunch of white kids be like, "Is that your brother?" And he's fucking blasting "Yeah" out of the speakers of like a bright red Nissan. And I'm like, I know you still have those CDs. Like they're somewhere at the crib. I know you still have those
Yep.
CDs. But yeah, it
I
was a
would have my
very different.
Walkman
I feel
Yeah.
like
listening to them.
today those roles would be reversed. It's like you pick him up from work at any point, and you've got the white SUV, windows down, sunroof back, and you're blasting King's Dead.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely me.
This ain't what you want.
Look, I gotta pass it down. I gotta go pick up Layla from school. Just blasting some
Yes.
future.
I-
La-di-da-di-da.
Dude, I have a Pick Up Viviana from School playlist working right now. And
We're cooking it up right now.
it's like, bam, Sosa.
Rihanna.
These kids don't know who Sosa is. Like, but yeah, very nostalgic, dope period for sure.
Yeah, dude. It really was. I mean, I guess my major question is like, do you think it's the hip hop and kind of that crunk influence that kind of separates this sound from like the 90s R&B?
I mean, this is one of the first albums to kind of help separate that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was really about to say you can tell not necessarily within the quality, but the actual subject matter of the R&B. If you like dive into R&B and like the history of R&B, obviously you go back to the 70s or 80s. It is like true appreciation, love making music for your partner. And as you move forward towards what we have now, which, if we're being honest, the main R&B is alternative R&B, where you have
Yeah.
a
Yeah, 'cause
toxic Brett
a lot of these artists are influenced by like a Michael Jackson,
right,
who wasn't R&B.
right.
It's
Yeah.
also
A
it's
lot of
also-
soul influence, like Ari Lennox and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's also worth pointing out that like hip hop becoming a bigger part of pop culture throughout the 90s led to, I think, kind of a parallel between the two, because you look at a lot of Usher's, outfits and music videos from the early 2000s, and he's dressed very much like a lot of early 2000s rappers are, maybe like a little toned down, maybe slightly more formal, but you've got like
That
big
Atlanta
chains,
influence.
leather jackets, do-rags,
Yeah.
like all the staples of like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
No,
like
definitely.
just
all
50
that.
cent. It's like a 50 cent wardrobe
Yeah.
on somebody in a different
Yeah.
genre.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
definitely.
he's dancing and
As I was
singing,
digging
like,
into this,
yeah.
his biggest influence was to not change the Atlanta influence that had on him. He wanted to make sure he kept that, so that's why he dressed the way he did.
I mean, it's a good point. It's the subject matter of what R&B is. Naturally, it's going to change over time, but as we enter the 2000s, that major difference from pre-2000s, how they discuss love, I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't think you would get an album discussing this nature of cheating this openly in like the
Yeah.
80s.
You know,
Like,
wait,
Yeah, for example,
What about
it-
for
like,
SZA's?
you would
example,
get
hold up.
some.
What about
but I
SZA's
don't-
Control?
But he said in the 80s.
I was talking about
Back
further
then.
back.
Oh,
for
okay,
example,
further
for
back. Oh, okay.
example,
I was-
for
Yes,
example,
going
you
forward,
wouldn't.
yes.
For example, you wouldn't get a Boys to Men album sounding like this.
No, you wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
No.
Never. Absolutely not.
No.
But yes, that's a good point, Brandon. Because Usher,
Yeah, no, I completely flipped. I'm sorry.
Now we
No,
have a SZA coming in, and I love SZA, but
yeah,
SZA has a
yeah,
terrible relationship with
yeah,
everyone that she talks to.
yeah.
Like,
Except Bugs, clearly. Clearly, she.
right? She just wants to be a bug.
I don't think that's
She could
that.
be a bug on. She could be a bug on my wall.
I'm
Shut
about to
up.
say, you asked me, SZA did nothing wrong. I don't care.
I don't give it. But yeah, no, I completely agree. Like he did really open this up, and it's crazy to think that this is like I don't know. He had been in the industry for like a decade at this point. Like this was
Yeah.
his fourth
Yeah.
album, right?
Yeah.
So it is interesting that I feel like so many artists there's this expectation that the sound that they make when they launch will like be their defining sound, and even if they move away from it, right, it will be significant in the sense that they are like kind of rebelling against that old sound, a la like a Tyler the Creator. Whereas like this feels much more just like a systemic, like just kind of like someone like really hitting that stride and like redefining their sound later in their career. And, you know, I think that the internet probably changed that. And I think it was something that changed early in the internet in the late 2010s, not like, you know, recently. But yeah, no, I think it's like really wild to hear like this much of a switch and this like kind of like such a bombastic but also intimate album at that point in an artist's career. Right? Usually someone's either choosing between making the album that has Yeah on it and the album that has Confessions on it. You know what I mean?
It's a wide
Yeah.
range of different things. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I guess I should ask him because building off that point, you brought up a really good point. I feel like because I was able to live through the weekend stage, the weekend and other people, I feel like the weekend's kind of the leader, brought in that alternative R&B. Where
Yeah.
We have a very different style.
Yeah.
That's if
The
we're being
Weeknd's like
honest,
the biggest name. I would say I think
Yeah.
the first one that really did it was Miguel.
as well as McGue, absolutely. But I feel like what we have now as alternative R&B is typically focused on a little bit more toxic qualities. If not necessarily being an F boy, but it may be surrounded by poor decisions or something you may not.
Well, I would say not necessarily. Like look at someone like Frank Ocean, where
That is
you know
also
I think the alternative to that comes from the fact that you know the artistic ambition of like a Frank Ocean is similar to someone like a Pink Floyd or a the Beatles. Like you know, I think that's where the alternative comes from, right? I definitely think like you could look at The Weeknd and Miguel and say that, and I get like all. I think my thing is I wonder if that's more of a function of alternative R&B and more of the fact that like so many people who are in that genre are just ripping off The Weeknd.
that is very
Yeah.
because that's the point. I feel like a lot of
Yeah,
and obviously
because
not
like I would consider like SZA to be well. This is SZA is like yeah. That's actually a point.
see my point where
Yeah,
I'm like
no.
almost everybody, and again, it's not a shot at R&B or these artists, but I
Yeah.
feel like the majority of R&B we hear nowadays
Yeah.
has at least a touch of toxicity. What do you think clicked with Usher? Like back in the early 2000s, why
I
did
just think it
everybody
was
hear an
subversive.
album about cheating and was like, "This is like."
Well, one, I think a whole lot of people like don't think about their consumption as much.
Yeah.
Sex appeal also back then was
Way
Different.
different.
all over the place.
I think because you had
he
less
was
control.
dancing and everything.
I think because
Him
like,
dancing in the music videos, him taking his clothes off in the videos,
It
and him
did
actually like
100%.
dancing really good. Like in R&B and pop, you really haven't seen someone that's not in a boy band dance like that since Michael Jackson.
yeah, no, really, I'm struggling to think of anyone. You know, anyone with like a better career than Genuine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say he's one of the
Probably
biggest
the only
names.
other
'cause
one. Yeah.
After him, obviously Chris Brown, but like that's after him, which is the important.
Yeah, exactly. And Chris Brown wouldn't be Chris Brown without Usher
Yeah. No,
or Michael Jackson.
I totally agree with that.
Now we don't have anyone dancing.
Yeah. No. Now no one dances.
No one.
Yeah, because like I'm trying to think back then what like brought me into liking like his dance moves. Like every guy wanted to dance like Usher.
That's
Like
true.
Yeah.
every guy wanted to dance like Chris Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah. Truly,
I
the
had a
Drews of
heated
years
argument
past.
about that. Yeah, that's true. No one else understands what you're saying, but I get it.
Yeah.
Yes, the Jews of years past. That man still posts his Chris Brown. By
I
the
know.
way.
Oh my god. But yeah, it really was like a revolutionary sound, and I was really happy that it was one that we got to revisit.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else we should cover?
Should we give it a grade?
We definitely need to give it a grade. I guess my main question, last one, because I'm looking at Usher, and like, listen, I think he's been relevant for a long time. Like, there are other Usher songs from later in his career that I genuinely do really like. Do you think this is where he peaked? Like, do you think this was peak Usher? Like, because, you know, we say, like we were just talking about how, and I think this is fine. I think different genres call for different things to be released, but this is the only one of his albums, at least I have heard people talk about, as like a full album with like a rewarding listening experience, right? As opposed to just like a collection of songs, you know, with singles for the radio and deep cuts for DJs. Right? You know, a curated listening experience. I think this one is probably the only Usher album I hear talk about like this. It's one of the few older R&B albums I hear talk about that. You know, like, yeah, I think like that, you know, when Kaleidoscope Dream came out, I think that changed things. But like, but this one totally is talked about like that.
I kind of do think this is where he peaked. I really do.
Well,
because it's like
I'll let you elaborate.
after this album, like this album was so massive. This album was so hard to top.
Yeah.
That's what made this his peak. Like you cannot every artist that like blows up has their peak.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick Lamar one day is gonna have his peak.
Yeah, he may have
We're
already.
not gonna know. He might have already hit it.
Recognize his peak that he already hit.
Yeah,
Right.
like you're right. Like he could have already hit it, and we don't know about it because what came after is still so good. Like
exactly. And we were living in the moment in Usher's career. So now that he's touring on like anniversary albums and all that, you can kind of look back and say this was his peak. He had singles and everything that were top of the charts, but he never had a full album that was able to hit like this.
So I'm looking, you had Raymond versus Raymond's, which had some big singles. But
that was going to be my next point.
Yeah, it had some big singles, but you know, and I think my main question, and I think Jeff answered it correctly, is like, you know, kind of like culturally, right? It's less like, oh, are people still listening to these songs, and more like, are people talking about these albums as albums? And yeah, I agree. I think like we saw Usher peak with this.
I do.
Yeah, because like after this album was Here I Stand, and I'd say the biggest song on that was Love in the Club.
Definitely. Yep.
So that's when he kind of started transitioning into a different type of more like clubby, poppy R&B.
I think he always did. I just think Confessions was when he was able to tie together really well.
Yeah.
You know? Because like you had Here I Stand, you have Raymond versus Raymond, you had Looking for Myself, which was him kind of adopting some newer sounds. And I actually like that album. Like there's like I really like Let Me See, the one with Rick Ross, and Looking for Myself and Dive. Like I actually like a fair amount of like some Usher songs from after this. But you know, I highly doubt that album holds up to Confessions as like, you know, for all that it's aged, I think it is still like a very well put together album, and I just don't know if anything after that would hold up to that degree.
Yeah, Hard to Love, not really.
Yeah.
And even Coming Home that he put out this year.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was kind of, I don't want to say a dud, but like, yeah, it was.
I mean, you can call it what it is. It's a dud compared to his previous. I feel like.
Right, yeah, but
at least.
It's also like hard to like put in, you know, I don't want to say it's a dud because that will inherently not have the context for this man's career. You know what I mean?
I mean, even still, I feel like in terms of answering your question, we have the benefit or yeah, we have the benefit of seeing his entire career. In the moment, I think it's hard to say someone's at their peak when they drop a good album. It's like, in
Yeah.
my opinion, if we're listening legit, the Forever Story is the best album that he ever put out. It may not be his best at the end of the story,
Right. Yeah.
but it's easy to look back over everything. And if you're looking back at his entire career, Confessions is the most complete album. But to give Usher his credit, he's made hits consistently since then.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I mean big hits, like actually things that are going everywhere, all over the radio, all over whatever social media existed at the time. It was a very big name. So to give him his flowers, he has been consistent throughout his career. But it is fair
Oh
to
yeah.
say
I'm not
now,
saying he hasn't.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. No. No.
it's
No.
definitely been
yeah,
just overall the overall album.
right.
This is where he's peaked because it's like
And it just
he
makes sense
has
because
never
you
been
have
able
a
to.
story, you have a structure, you have something to drive
Hmm.
towards. Not saying the other albums don't have meaning behind it, but when you have something as serious as being caught cheating, it's probably a little easier for you to focus and drive a narrative. And he does it pretty well in Confessions.
Yeah, and I feel like as an artist, when you make an album that is at that time kind of legendary status, and
Hmm.
even still, it kind of makes you in this separate category where it's like whatever else I do in my career, I'm already going to be known for having this great album. My career is already cemented as something great.
Let's just keep making music. Please tell that
Yeah,
to
so let's just make hits. Let's just make hits.
Yeah.
Let's
just
make great
tell that to
singles.
Chance the
Yeah.
Rapper, please.
And like, I don't bemoan someone, especially someone like Usher who like lives and dies on the pop charts. He's not. No one's thinking he should be winning Pulitzers. So like
No one goes that far.
yeah, I know, but like and I think that's why like if you want to live and die on hits, I think fucking do them as long as you can.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to do grades? Do we want to run down grades?
I'm down.
I am gonna give this. I'm gonna curve it and give it an A. I feel like I wanted to give it a B plus, a B, because of just like how much like some of the aesthetic has aged, the style has aged. I think another thing is that like it is. I don't want to say one note because I do think R&B is like a particularly dynamic genre that can carry an album this long, but it is like not as dynamic as modern albums in the space is. But I feel like all of that is, an effect of listening to it in 2024. So if I had to go like uninflated, I would probably give a B. But I think if I have to consider all those things, I'm probably going an A minus. So, and I am going to consider all those things, so I'm going an A minus.
Okay.
I was going to say A minus also.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
a great album. Great
I'm
Usher
along the
album.
same
No.
track. I'm along the same track. It was very eye opening being able to listen to this front to back. I think the quality's there.
Yeah.
I think the story
It's
is
something we'll never
crazy.
hear again.
Yeah. It is like a moment, like, I don't know if we'll never hear again, but we are so far away from it, and like bad shit would have to happen.
It's like, do I want to hear it again? Like,
Yeah, but as I'm saying, we'll never hear it again because it's like, one, an artist isn't going to want to put this out publicly, and
That's also
two, you put something out publicly like this, you're most likely going to get canceled.
Actually, I disagree because I think by virtue of everyone having to be on social media, every artist is out publicly like this. Like, no
Sure.
matter what album you're making, like you are in front of the camera
This is
24/7.
different though.
No, disagree.
This is an album about it though. You got to think about it. Like, and hear me
I
out.
still feel like that's completely different in like an age where like the idea of personal privacy has been completely eroded,
I feel like the only thing I
especially for
compare it to-
celebrities.
I mean, I do agree. I do agree. I feel like the only thing I could compare this to in terms of publicly, intentionally putting yourself out there is the latest Kendrick album.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. And like that album stands out away from every other album in the past 2 years, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm not talking about like, oh, it's so much better. I'm just saying it stands out in terms of like this is a album specifically about a man talking about his therapy sessions.
Nah.
It's different. You don't get it often.
Sure. I think like part of that might be a function of the different world we live in, but here or
Yeah.
there. Jasper.
I'm going to B plus, but go ahead, Jasper.
I'm giving this an H for horny.
I
No,
I'm willing to allow that if you guys are.
This MF horny.
I'm not mad at your answer.
Yeah, I'm actually willing to.
Matter of fact, I'm giving it an H. Like,
I think this album is like, it's so funny because it's like I said, musically, it's just so competent and poised and put together. And then you go and make a song like that's what it's made for.
Yeah, you look up the lyrics and it's like, what?
And it's like, motherfucker. Like,
yeah, but that song,
that's what it's made for. The song hits.
Yeah, but the song, that's what the song is made for. Like
the whole
outro, but it's just
that's like saying Fiend only goes hard and doesn't do anything else. Like, yeah, that's what it's made for.
It's Fiend.
Yeah,
That's what it's made for. It's a sex love making song that has a
you're not wrong.
Like speech at the end from this girl that like Jesus.
I know. All I'm saying is that for my taste personally, I would sooner listen to Marvin Gaye than I would this. Just given the early 2000s flair of this, it just to me is like a little raunchy. But other than that, like I think it's solid. I would give it the same curved grade. I would probably give it a B plus with the curve. Without it, listening to it on its own in my like for my taste, I'd probably give it like a C plus just because it's like really it's long, it's a lot, and it's
No, I think that's
good
fair.
answer. Good answer. It's a good answer.
All right. That was our
recommendations?
confessions.
We made it through an Usher album.
We made it through
Dial
an Usher
H
album.
for horny.
We've came a long way.
If you, Purvis, in that night when I got off a plane drunk from Miami and I called you about starting a podcast, if you would have said we may eventually review an Usher album, who knows if we would still be here?
We may have canceled everything.
God, I'm also laughing at the thing I just sent you and only you on Instagram.
Oh, God damn it.
Do you want me to
recommendations?
Do my first? I have a recommendation, open and ready to go. Okay. So I spent the last week in Florida, doing a memorial service for my grandfather, and kind of just spending some time with some family I don't get to see all that often. So I want to use my recommendations to just highlight some Cuban music, and I'm gonna go with a very obvious choice. For the first one, this song is a classic. It's called Oye Como Va, the version by Santana. Right, this is an old
classic, dude.
Cuban jazz standard, remade in like a like a psychedelic '60s guitar style. This was the music of my home growing up. So, Oye, Oye. Como, Como, and Va, Va.
Write your song down. You never write your song down.
I got it. This is a classic for me too. My mom is big into Santana. I grew up listening to this shit.
So this is like the more surface level one. I'm gonna do another Cuban song for my second one.
I love that.
I got one ready, unless when you two want to go.
Go, Jasper.
My first one is going to be a song that I recently remembered it exists. It is not hip hop, but it came on just like some For Me playlist. I added it to my like running playlist, and it hits for running. The Killers, Somebody Told Me. Something I haven't heard in forever, but just like, damn, like when you're out in the sun, just putting one foot in front of the other, it works.
Enjoy the sun while we have it. It's almost time. Yeah. I'm about to take my air conditioner out.
Yeah, I gotta do that soon too.
It's getting cold.
I'll go next. My first recommendation is gonna be Frank Ocean, Pink and White.
I love that song.
That's the way every day goes.
When you're driving into the city to work overnight, and it pops on, and you're on Lower Whacker, it hits.
The artist I recommended last week has a killer cover, like one of the best Frank Ocean cover I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just thought about it. Now that you work downtown at night, you better be blasting Frank Ocean every night. Every drive. Every drive. Just blasting Frank Ocean.
You gotta get some of that on the radio.
Literally. My
Conservative
first
radio.
We're playing Frank
they would
Ocean.
love a gay Frank Ocean on their
Put
radio.
Chanel
Well,
on.
hey,
Put
it's
Chanel.
relevant. It's so relevant for Florida. They're all gonna have to swim good.
No,
I love them.
my goodness.
God.
That's
Yes.
your pun for the week, and
All those-
you used it wisely.
Yes, all those hurricane victims.
You used it wisely, Jasper. Good job.
Good job. Everyone give Jasper a round of applause.
No regrets, I
Golf
guess.
clap.
Incredible.
Okay. My first one, from an artist called Justice Xavier. He dropped a song called 6 Dimes. It is a phenomenal song. And this whole album is great. It dropped last year. Highly, highly recommend. In the same vein of Griselda, it came on shuffle. Shit hits.
Incredible. Okay.
Alright.
My next one, hold up, I got it right here. My next one is by an artist that has like an incredibly, or at least to me, has an incredibly interesting origin story. It's the Buena Vista Social Club.
Yeah.
The average age of them is like 80. They were old Cuban jazz musicians on the island who were recorded for a documentary, and then because of the documentary, they were able to come to the States and produce an album and release it. And they only have one album. All of them are called the Buena Vista Social Club, and it is just like literally listening to the island. So I'm gonna recommend one of my favorite from their debut, like their most premier album is called Candela.
Okay.
So love that. Get yourself some Cuban music this week.
I love
Shit's
that.
a little different.
Give me some Cuban food today. Or this week.
Dude, I ate so much Cuban food in the last couple of days. You have no
I
idea.
was-
I'm jealous.
Dude,
I need to find a good place. Ooh, Matos put me on some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure Matos has good stuff, but
Yeah.
96 miles is only like a couple blocks from me if you ever want to come by.
But let's look into that. Matos gave me some Cuban food, dude, when I helped him with his resume.
Yeah.
Get that job.
What was it?
I mean, I don't know the proper name, and I don't want to
Don't be
offend anybody, but
It's fine.
it was some kind of like sandwich that had plantains as the bread. I don't know the proper
That's a
name.
jarrito. That's Puerto Rican.
It was jarrito.
Yeah,
Maybe
jarrito.
I'm
That's
wrong.
Puerto Rican. And that's not even like from Puerto Rico. That's from Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, that's a Puerto Rican Chicago thing.
Look at me not knowing culture.
Yeah, it's delicious. No, the jarrito slaps. It's the best thing they've ever done. But like,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe I need some
Watching
traditional
that
Cuban
big
food.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
no,
need to
but-
put me on some traditional Cuban food.
okay,
I'll say
absolutely.
that. Humble myself.
Yeah, no. All my aunts are telling Rachel she looked Cuban, and now it's really going to her head.
Well, I love that for her.
She's gonna let that go right to her head.
I love that for her. Yeah.
Damn, baby, are you a sugarcane plantation? Because you're looking 10 million.
Jesus Christ. Please don't use the phrase plantation on this podcast, Jasper. You're on the wrong
If you
side
know, you know.
You're on the wrong side of the color spectrum to be throwing around the word plantation unprompted.
Oh man.
You have
I
to
just gotta
file
take my
that form
headphones
3
off.
days ahead of time.
Oh, that was funny. Oh, Jess, give me a warning.
Yeah, dude.
End the podcast.
No,
Catch me
please.
getting stabbed in Havana using that.
Jesus Christ. Please give your recommendation, Jasper, so we could just.
Oh, my second one? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
My second one, I was doing the thing I'm not supposed to do, and I listened to Kanye again. And Streetlights.
Why do you hate Jewish
Oh,
people?
Streetlights is great though. but I
808
hate you.
Streetlights.
I
It's
listen
so
to
funny the way it
Runaway.
opens, too. Does he still have time to grow? Yeah, the wrong way.
Man, good song. Good song.
Yeah.
Bad
Good
art.
Great
song.
song.
Great song.
My next one is gonna be a cover of Tame the Impala, Lost in Yesterday. It's Milky Chance with
Did you
Lost
say-
in Yesterday.
Did you say Tame the Impala?
Yes, I know I've said it. I fucked that up. Tame Impala.
Get him.
Jasper, not sober.
Yeah. We actually believe Chief Keef when he said we hate being sober.
Also, if you didn't catch me like yawning twice, like
He's fighting for his life over here.
Yeah, he's got to go to work
He
now.
works the night shift.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, with your wrong side of history and your being rich. Let Jeffy Knife shifts yawn and say things wrong.
First there's plantation. Now
Oh, you were talking to
Jesus
me.
Christ.
I don't know what's going on. Purvis, wrap this shit up.
Make it stop.
Yeah, make it stop, Purvis.
Yes. Damn, we haven't said that in a while. Okay, wrapping
2
it all
weeks.
up. Short little narrative, little story. I found an advertisement that was playing this song, and I was like, I need to find out what song this is. I have recently made an entire playlist based off of like 1970s, 1980s R&B, like really smooth stuff. And the advertisement lined up perfectly. I found a group called the Valdons, and I believe they were popping off around the late 60s, 70s. So like real smooth R&B. And they have a song called What You Gonna Do. It is phenomenal. Highly, 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 highly recommended. So that's what we're gonna end off with. Some nice smooth R&B before Usher came in and started talking about cheating.
It was his confession.
I don't care.
confirm.
Have you ever considered the idea that he was going to? He had the idea. It's like, okay, I'm gonna make an album about confessing stuff, and then he cheated, and then was like, oh shit, like.
Oh yeah,
the
oh yeah. This
album
is like
inspired him to
really.
keep Brandon. Good pull.
I think that
This
was
is like really 1970s R&B.
Yes, it is a deep throwback, and this song came out on a vinyl called "Secret Stash" in
amazing.
like 2013 or something.
Purvis, you're gonna send me a link right now because
It's very
no.
much
So
Purvis lore.
hold on. Let me real quick. I gotta tell you, it's not called Secret Stash. It's 45. So it's just called Stop. Wait a minute on one side, and then B side. What you gonna do? So it's
Go off,
literally
Jasper.
just the. Yeah, if you search the Valdens on Spotify, it's there. I pulled it up. It's
so good.
Valdens.
It's so good.
But yeah, Secret Stash is just like the label imprint that they used.
Look, I ain't mad at you. It is phenomenal. Highly recommend. Smooth R&B jazz.
Well, is it okay if I tell the listeners to like and subscribe, leave a comment, tell us we suck, tell us which one of us sucks the most, maybe say
Don't do
something
that.
nice.
Don't promote that.
Do
Questions, comments, vicious attacks,
concerns.
perhaps.
Yeah. And
Tell us how
like,
the
follow,
tunes are bad.
subscribe, and that's it. We will be here next week for our finale of the Year of Doom.
We made it.
We made it.